Whoever speaks in primordial images speaks with 1,000 voices. He enthralls and overpowers. He transmutes our personal destiny into the destiny of mankind and evokes in us all those beneficent forces that ever and anon have enabled humanity to find refuge from every peril and to outlive the longest night.
Hi, I am Maya Vassallo di Florio. In this space, I answer the most common questions about personal blooming and empowerment. Touching philosophical, spiritual, cultural, and social themes, I support you in making the difference in the world. I'm here to guide you blooming in the marvelous creature you are, one petal at a time.
Welcome everyone to today's episode of Aphrodisia entitled What Does a Priestess of Aphrodite and Sacred Sexuality Do? The quote I read in the opening is by Carl Gustav Jung, and apart from referring only to men, forgive him, he had the limits of his time, it represents in nuce what I think is the essence of a priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality mission. But let's see a little bit more in detail what it means to be a priestess or priest of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality, considering that many of you asked me many times, especially those of you who have just landed here and don't know me so well yet. The priest or priestess is a helping profession in service to individuals, couples, and the whole community. And it involves both the individual and collective levels. Being a priestess or priest of the goddess is a social role, just exactly like the priestesses of the past. The priestesses of nowadays are, again, a reference point for the whole community. From now on, when I'll say priestess, I'll also mean priest, because the masculine is comprehended into the feminine word. Priestesses of nowadays have a culture crafting role, answering to the fundamental human needs of being fed with culture, philosophy, but also spirituality, which we have progressively forgotten in favor of an excessive rationalism. I'm not saying we should ignore rationalism because it is very important. I'm saying that it's fundamental to parallel it with another fundamental dimension of existence for us as human beings, which is the spiritual one. The priestess is the voice of wisdom, even in the process of taking decisions. She is an empowerment agent. In fact, compared to the priests or priestesses, those last one, very few indeed, of other patriarchal religions, in the goddess spirituality, which is not a religion, the priestesses do not create relationships of dependence with people they help. That's why I said that she is an empowerment agent, because he or she does not mediate the relationship between the person and the divine, but just facilitates these relationships. Because he has the role of facilitator and sometimes teacher, but does not mediate between the person and the divine. I repeat it. A priestess or priest of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality does not mediate between the person and the divine, because she knows each person has the right to enjoy the relationship with the divine in authenticity and directly. In particular, the priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality help people to reclaim their responsibility and therefore the power that allows them the control of their own choices. More specifically, the priest or priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality is dedicated to Goddess Aphrodite. What does that mean? Maybe today we could speak about specialization. So, a priestess of Aphrodite in this case is specialized in the goddess Aphrodite energy, mythology, qualities, and shades. This means that she brings the Aphroditic values both within herself, in her personal and family life, and in the world through her deeds, through every one of her thoughts, words, and actions. But what are those Aphrodite values I'm talking about? Reciprocal and circular care, which means that everyone takes care of everyone within the community. And this is a very important value. Another Aphroditic value is harmony, therefore, creating harmony within the self, in and out of the body, in the space, in the house, in the temple, in the community, bringing beauty into the world. And here I'm not talking about superficial beauty, but a beauty which is aesthetic and becomes ecstatic, which means a beauty capable of moving the hearts and awakening emotions, elevating the human being. So, not the superficial beauty of magazines, but a deep beauty which is profoundly significative, bringing sensuality and the marvelous experience of being in the body and the happiness of being in this planet and the concept of sensuality, sexuality, and pleasure. So, the Priestess of Aphrodite in sacred sexuality incarnates, like Aphrodite herself, the principle of pleasure through her thoughts, words, and actions. The Priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality help people to live a life of pleasure, of love, peace, and beauty through the ars amandi, which is a Latin word indicating the arts that a priestess cultivates to the levels of mastery. This art of love is the center of Aphroditic philosophy and spirituality I teach. What is arsamandi? The arsamandi is very much connected to sacred sensuality and sexuality. In fact, it is the art of making love with life, of being in the synesthesia of the senses, of feeling the sacredness through all the senses in every material aspect, which is not parted from the spirit. For the priestess of Aphrodite in sacred sexuality, spirit and matter are united, mixed, intertwined, and in connection with pleasure. The priestess of Aphrodite is able to experience fully the pleasure and teaches other people how to fully enjoy having a body. So it's the opposite of instilling the guilt of having a body, as many patriarchal religions do. The Priestess of Aphrodite proposes new models of existence in which we can celebrate the body, celebrate sensuality and sexuality in life. She researches the grace and beauty of the aesthetic moment, which becomes ecstatic, and therefore it's not a superficial beauty, but it's a moving beauty that transforms into a divine experience, a soul orgasm. In the Aphroditic philosophy and spirituality I teach, sexuality is therefore the preferential way of communicating with the divine, in this case, Aphrodite. The Priestess of Aphrodite teaches people how to transform time into art, how making art out of time. This means not wasting it, but giving a deep significance, a deep value to every instant, and enjoying every moment, transforming it into a masterpiece. She teaches people how to make love with time and space, giving value to every instant, place, and detail. She teaches to celebrate and honor pleasure in every little detail, taking care of everything. And that generates harmony and beauty and sacredness. This experience leads to sacred sex and to experience sex as a prayer, as a fusion with all that is, as an explosion into fountains of pleasure with the cosmic womb of creation and regeneration. This experience leads to sacred sex and to experience sex as a prayer, as a fusion with all that is, as an explosion into fountains of pleasure within the cosmic womb of creation and regeneration. After all, the orgasm itself, in many languages, it's called the little death, la piccola morte in Italian, la petite mort in French, because this is, together with death, the only moment in which the human being experience the sensation of being fused with all the creation, which is the cosmic mother. Through the arsamandi, the sacred sexuality, and the application of the principle of pleasure, harmony, beauty, The Priestess of Aphrodite and Sacred Sexuality help people and the collective to live an ecstatic life, which is based on pleasure, on sacredness of every moment and everything. What a revolution, eh? She is a beauty weaver through ceremonies, rituals, individual sessions, one to one. Priestesses of Aphrodite have a social, cultural, philosophical, energetic, and spiritual role, yes, but also a political role, yes. Because if we make the sacer, which is the sacred energy, Latin word for sacred energy, and we craft culture, then we must know culture influences politics and people actions. So it's important to recognize that in every time and everywhere in the world, and in every kind of spirituality and religion, always, 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 the spirituality and religion have influenced politics. This is something the Priestess of Aphrodite knows very well, and therefore it is important to bring out those values in the awareness that they have an influence on politics. This is also the reason why we give so much importance to the narrations, the stories, and the mythologies we want to keep and transmit. Priestesses of Aphrodite help people, but also the whole community to heal their life and their wounds. She is an activist through words or initiatives. There are many ways of being activists. So, the Priestess of Aphrodite has the mission to spread the Aphroditic values, sprinkling them into the world, bringing pleasure, beauty, care, and harmony. I hope this episode answered exhaustively the question, what does a priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality do? What is this role? If you want to know more about Aphroditic tradition, if you want to work with Aphrodite archetype and with sacred sexuality, and if you want to start changing your life in a way that is beauty, harmony, and pleasure oriented, if you want to live according to the Aphroditic philosophy and spirituality, please know that the training to become a priest or priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality is about to start. This training is one of the best trainings you'll ever find, and for sure, the best training centered on Goddess Aphrodite. It has been quoted by the best universities of the world, such as Oxford University. So far, I've been teaching to students from all over the world: Canada, California, Finland, UK, France, Netherlands, Argentina, Chile, Venezuela, Spain, Peru, Sri Lanka. This is something I find incredible and so enriching, because in the International Aphrodite Priestess Training, everyone has the opportunity to meet with people of different cultures. And when the differences meet, it is always enriching, and it always brings more value to the experience. The training is in English language, and it is mainly online, with a final intensive week here at the Temple of the Great Goddess in beautiful Roma, exploring all the most sacred, magical, and esoteric goddess places in Roma, one of the most magical and Aphroditic cities of the world. If you want to know more about the training, which is about to start, hurry up. Click on the link in the description to know all the infos to subscribe to this life-changing, magical, sensual, ecstatic path. As always, the best way to support this project, Aphrodisia, is to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon in order to receive a notification each time that a new episode is born. And feel free to share with all of your friends that will benefit from Aphrodisia episodes. If you are called by Aphrodite, run in the descriptions and open your heart and read all the infos about the training to become a priest or priestess of Aphrodite and sacred sexuality. You will also find a link to a free workshop you can enjoy. Remember, the training is about to start. I will see you, if you want to the other side of the veil. Bye bye.